Hey everybody, it's Frankie-Lou. I'm coming to you today from the kitchen of the Grow Together Homestead, where I thought I would do a little quick run through of some of the tools that I think of as my must-haves in my kitchen. This post was actually inspired by a terrible accident that occurred in my kitchen yesterday. My mortar and pestle fell on the floor yesterday and broke. Now, this may not seem like a great tragedy to some of you, but for me, it took a moment because I actually use this fabulous tool almost every single day. I have been spending a lot of time with my kitchen and with my tool, and I really had time to reflect upon the things that are in my kitchen that I use every single day and elevate my cooking and my preserving without breaking the bank, because these are all tools that are really quite cheap. They're manual. I take some of these things camping, like they don't require a lot of money or electricity to run, but they make a huge difference in food preparation because I am obsessed with food and not just eating it, but also growing and preparing it. First off, as the aforementioned mortar and pestle, if you don't have one of these in your kitchen, why not? Because they've been around for centuries for a reason, okay? It's not just a witchy little tool for preparing herbs for medicine. It's also one of the best ways to crush flavor into your food. That's how I think of it. I'm gonna be crushing some flavor into my food today, and I use this almost every single day. As an example, I'm gonna be preparing a curry pretty quick here that I'm gonna be making a huge batch and freezing some for later. This is going to come in handy for preparing my curry because I'm going to be crushing up my spices in here and turning them into a nice paste with my garlic and my chilies and my ginger to create a beautiful curry. And I use it for steeping oils. I use it for even my cosmetic stuff when I need to crush rosehip. I use it for every homemade salad dressing that I make. Basically, I throw a garlic, clove, a few herbs, some oil and vinegar in there and mash away with some salt, and there you have your salad dressing. It really is a really great way to add extra flavor to your food without much work. A lot of people would just say, well, I'm just going to use my Ninja for that. Yes, and you can do that, but sometimes it's nice to take something out that doesn't require electricity, and this is fun. Okay, it's a good way to, somebody's been bugging you, just imagine they're down at the bottom of your mortar and pestle. So number one must-have tool, if you do not have one of these yet, get one. Okay, I also find for my own purposes in the kitchen, I really like the hard ones. I tried using some wooden ones. They didn't do the trick as well for me. They also were more absorbent. I like the ones that are made out of good rock. I also like the ones that are just a tiny bit rough, not super smooth inside. And because I tend to make things in big batches, I like a big one, okay? I do have about 4 because I love them, but this is my favorite. And one of the other reasons I really love it is because it has a little spout to help me pour things out of it. Okay. Number one must-have tool, mortar and pestle. Next off, my rasp grater. I have 2 of these because there's one that's often dirty from the meal I prepared earlier today. Haven't watched it yet, and I'm going to use it again to prepare another meal. This comes camping, okay? This is essential for me. For the obvious things, grating lemon and lime and citrus zest of any sort, yeah, it's fabulous. But another thing I really love it for is for grating up frozen things that I've put in my freezer to add a little flavor pop at the end. Now let me show you. I keep ginger and jalapenos in my freezer all the time to use so that I can create a nice flavor zest on top. I also use this for just garlic cloves. I like it better than using the crusher. I don't have to peel in advance. And I get a really lovely, I like to call it flavor snow, okay? It's thawing already, but you can imagine just if you wanted to add a nice little pop of ginger, say on top of your chai tea, or you wanted to add it into that curry that I mentioned earlier, guess what? This is gonna come into effect with jalapenos, making a nice little grated, peppery, spicy flavoring just to add a little flavor pop on the top of a soup or a stir fry. You really can't go wrong. This gets used every day. So yes, number 2 must-have tool in my kitchen is a microplane rasp. All right, number 3, I'm sure you already have this, okay? A speed peeler. Yes, it's fabulous for just peeling your vegetables. Will be used several times today for that curry. I'm gonna peel my carrots with it, but I'm also gonna use it to create ribbons with the zucchini. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna peel my zucchini into these nice ribbons. See, it makes a really, really nice zucchini ribbon. All right, you can do that with other vegetables like carrots, like potatoes. It's a really great ribbon device. I'm gonna salt these a little bit, drain them, and then I'm gonna sear them up really quick as a nice refreshing side to have with my spicy curry. Okay, so this gets used every day. So number 3, must-have tool for your kitchen, pretty standard basic speed peeler. Number 4, a very, very fine wire screen sieve. You probably have something like this already at home, but it's really important that it be a fine one because the stuff that I use it for on the daily basis, I really want something that's only going to allow really fine stuff to come through, like fluids. Okay. Pretty much basically you can use this for draining pasta, pretty much draining anything, but it's also really good for creating some of those things that you might not think about draining. For instance, I'm going to use this for that curry I mentioned. I'm going to drain some yogurt. I've got some nice plain yogurt, but it still has quite a bit of fluid. I'm going to pop it on top of this sieve for a couple of hours. It's going to drain out the fluid, and I basically have a nice thickened Greek style yogurt now without paying the price for a Greek style yogurt and without adding any extra guar gums or anything to try to, or gelatin to thick it up. I've got a really nice thick yogurt. I use that in tons of things, okay? I use this almost daily to drain yogurt. I used it earlier to do a citrus oil. I even use this with my seed saving, remove chaff from things. I use it every day. So another one of my must-have basic homesteading kitchen tools. Last off, mason jars. Yes, I'm sure you have a few of those. And by the way, little PSA here, if you have a friend who's given you some preserves, please return the jar to them because they probably think of these as gold. I know I do. Wide mouth mason jars, great for lots of uses, but it becomes actually a little mini planter once you add one of these little sieves, okay, seed sprouting sieve lids. I have 5 of these going on the counter right now. In the winter, this is a lifesaver to me. I eat fresh sprouts every day, particularly because I don't want to be firing up lights and stuff in my house to create my own little lettuce garden or herb garden. But what I can do is grow sprouts very, very easily. And as mentioned with that curry earlier, I'm going to be using these fenugreek sprouts, aren't they lovely, as a nice flavor pop on my curry later on. Having this nice little sprouting sieve that fits on top of your wide mouth mason jars means that you can start sprouting your own legumes and seeds. There's a whole other video about that you can check out in my playlist. You do not need to spend a fortune to get seeds. You can get them at the grocery store. And I use this every day. So let's just recap. As you can see, none of this is too costly. I think the most expensive things here are the mortar and pestle. Okay, you want to have one of those, so you really, really do. And the fine grade microplane rasp. Those can get a little bit costly, but you can probably find those for around 20 bucks each. So compared to an electric tool that you have to plug in and also use electricity, not so bad. You got your speed peeler, that's a few bucks. You got your fine wire mesh sieve, a few bucks, and you got your sieve that you can get usually at a garden store. I even can find those of some varieties at Canadian Tire, and those range from 5 bucks to 20 depending on what you want to pay. So I hope that was helpful. If you're looking for a nice little gift, maybe for somebody who's starting to do their own preserving and to up their cooking game, I would have been delighted if somebody had given me this and I didn't have to figure it out over the years. So I hope maybe you will give some of those things a try. If you have any questions about some of the other ways that you can use them or other tools in your kitchen or in your garden, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments. And as always, I hope you take this chance to grow together today. Have a good one.